Let me show you exactly how I turned a complete stranger into a $3,000 client in less than 16 hours, right? Without a single sales call or a DM. Okay, we're really talking here cold all the way to, viewing a lead magnet to a $12 offer to a high ticket sale, all right? And all inside of one specific system here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and break that down for you, the timestamps, the funnel, the strategy, and how this can be repeatable for you. What's going on? My name is Justice Severin here. I'm making these videos every Wednesday to make sure I give you a ton of value, and I'm doing that especially for creators, coaches, experts, consultants, high-ticket service providers who want to go out there and just create a wildly profitable personal brand, right? And really, it's bigger than making a personal brand. At the end of the day, if you want to really have a brand that accelerates and goes beyond your wildest dreams, you have to, it starts with the brand, right? It starts with you have to earn that. And that's when it comes down to the personal side of it. You just happen to be the vehicle, the person driving the vehicle, but you have to create a vehicle that's desired. All right. So this is basically just another beautiful example here for you to look at, so you can go ahead now and grow your business, grow the machine it is that you're creating and building into something that's beautiful. All right. So obviously, too, if you're new, definitely go ahead, comment new down below. I'd love to see you as you're kind of chiming in here. Definitely feel free to drop any questions you guys. I'm going through this, and of course, if you're back again, you like this stuff. All right. So go ahead, click the subscribe button. Make sure you get all the good stuff here as we tap in each week. But I honestly want to come in and just dive straight in if that's cool with you. So really, this is no fluke how this happened, right? The reality is we and you yourself, we're building client acquisition machines here, right? And really what I kind of did to make this happen here, just like I broke down for you, and you can see in the title, this is the proof behind it. Like, here's exactly what happened. Basically it was at literally, I'll look you right now too. 10:55, they viewed a free lead magnet. 4:30 p.m., they actually bought my $12 offer. And at 1:20 in the morning, they bought my full high ticket coaching program, right? No call, no chasing, just a clean system that brings in the right folks, all right? And shows them the next step, all right? So really, I want you to really understand just that this idea that prospective clients, a lot of the times they do need time to buy, right? Like, this is, I don't want to paint this as the picture that this is what happens every single time. I've done trainings around how, I've gotten people to buy after 2 years, right? The reality is you don't want that to be the norm, but at the same time, I think that it is a beautiful thing if that's the norm, if you have that as that's one of the occasions, one of the occurrences that happens repeatedly, right? It's nice if you can have this that happens repeatedly. Beautiful spot is if you can have that kind of bookend on this end, that bookend on that side, and everything in between. Now it just breeds consistency. It breeds consistent clients. It breeds steady cash flow inside of your business that allows you to reinvest, continue to grow, and just build the lifestyle business that you're looking to have, right? It's exactly what B2C is all about. So, but really, I think that there's something to be said about this idea that you need sales calls, and you obviously don't need sales calls. This is a prime example of that. But I do like to share with folks that there's no doubt that having a sales call, it helps to speed up the sales process, right? There's no doubt that I could make faster sales if I was willing to get on the phone with everybody. Now, I'm at the point in my business where I don't want to do that. Like, that's just where I'm at, and I've earned the right in a sense here too. And obviously, because I've built up this point, cash flow savings, XYZ team in place, like I'm in a good spot to do that. But when I think back to where I started, that was not the case. I was easily taking 10 to 15 sales calls a week on that side. So I'm not trying to say this that you shouldn't take sales calls, that you should. I think it depends on really where you're at, and you have to understand that and take it with a grain of salt here. But once again, I just want to reiterate, there's no doubt that taking a sales call it can be very effective, right? There's a reason why people talk about doing it, right? So the challenge then becomes, how do you balance that reality with the lifestyle that you actually desire, right? So, but now let's get back to this here. Like, why did this work, right? Because the system truly, it's built for what I call speed to trust. That is a large element around what makes this thing tick here, right? Because every piece is designed to create belief. Every piece is designed to create belief, and it really is made to set up the next step to be the obvious step. That's where, when you get the foundation right, things really start to work. I mean, like, and I'll even show you kind of what this looks like under the hood as we continue here in this video right now. And like, I guess, like, quick little prerequisite or heads up disclaimer, if you will. I wasn't always doing this, okay? Like, before I built this system, like I said, I was stacking up calls. Like I mentioned, I was easily taking 10 to 15 calls a week, which is, we're talking what, 20 to, geez, I don't even know. 20, I can't do my math off the top of my head. I wasn't accounting, I swear. No, 40, 40 to 60 calls a month based on that side. So like that was a reality for me. All right. So now, and at that point I was taking calls, I was sending follow-ups, sending follow-ups all times of the day. Even I was up at midnight at times, just hoping someone would say yes before you're, getting ghosted in the first place. And now when I flash forward to things like today, now I'm able to wake up to $3,000 sales without even getting on a call. Right. And so that to me is leverage. That to me is a lifestyle that's sustainable. That's what's going to lead you to not having burnout. And so I don't even say it in the sense where everyone has to start off taking calls. Like I think it all depends on where you're at, how urgent it is that you get results. And then if you can really wait, it can allow you, and I say wait in a sense in the short term, because when it comes to the long term game, that's where you can really set yourself up where now you're just feeling like I need to take calls forever, and now you're really just hurting that lifestyle. And you can find the balance, and you can kind of transition away, which is what I did. And so now I think that's where just once again it's a tough balance to find a lot of the times too, now so that you can get to the point where you are living the sweet spot, right? And I just think most coaches are kind of drowning, just kind of drowning in the wrong to-do list. It's like, hey, they're posting content all day. They're trying to build momentum with random tactics. But the real wins, in my eyes, they come from installing a true system that really does the heavy lifting for you. A true system that not only allows what I'm talking about here today to happen, but that allows people, even if they don't buy right away like this, they don't buy in 16 hours or 9 hours, right? It allows them to at least continue your process, to continue to instill trust in you as a brand and you as a person and you as the owner of your offer, right? And that's just gonna be really big, because otherwise it's like I feel like there's look at Jimmy out there trying to create a new funnel every month. It's like still on the call to call hamster wheel, still chasing instead of just truly attracting. And when you can start to make this shift, it really changes things, right? Like, I had someone buy, and like basically the moral of the story, don't be Jimmy, okay? But I had someone buy, inside of B2C, and it was like their first month into it, right? And this was last month. They tried to copy the funnel that basically I have, but they made one mistake, right? They treated this like this $12 offer, this $10 offer, this $30 offer, this lower ticket offer. They treat it like the destination instead of the setup, right? And it all comes back towards the understanding of your core foundations and knowing what is that true foundation of your flagship offer, which first you obviously have to have extreme clarity of what the flagship offer is, but really knowing how to pull out those right core elements so that you can pre-sell your free and buyer leads. Like, there's no doubt that this is the difference maker when it comes down towards it. You have to be able to create a powerful nurture system. But in order to do that, you need to understand what is the foundation. What are those core elements that we have that separates us? There are so many people out there trying to do what you do. You're trying to tell yourself that's not the case, but that is the case. That is the reality, right? There's so many people on this world. To think that you are that unique is crazy. So what we don't need to do is we don't need to reinvent the wheel. What we need to do is get the positioning right. And that's why understanding these core elements can allow us to now position things slightly differently than the next. And especially because even though there are so many people out there, a lot of people are messing up. A lot of people aren't taking the right next steps. And it gives you an opportunity to really swoop in and create something magical for yourself. Right? So let's go ahead and walk through really how this worked, step by step how this worked here, right? So the lead magnet it all started with, right? So the lead magnet in itself, that was my client magnet funnel, right? So they saw this through a paid ad. Now there's an interesting part. The funny part I kind of see with this here is that they did not actually opt into it. I think that this is such a powerful point. It's such a power, like I said, it started with a free lead magnet, and then it leads through which, like I said, 16 hours later, 9 hours later, they ended up turning into a high ticket client, right? So they didn't even opt into it. And so the beauty with this here is that what it shows is that it's not even about opting in. It's not even about getting the lead to opt in. It's about the brand. It's about them seeing you. It's about getting that first eyeballs on you in that inception, how you now are, and not even you, let's flip that on its head. they are now a member of your world without even opting in. And I think that that is something that's extremely powerful. Like when we think about, I'm gonna throw out a name like Warren Buffett, right? You and I are in his world because you and I are both, we both talked about him, right? We both know he like drinks a Coke every day or like whatever he claims to do, right? It's like, and obviously we know more importantly, what he's really known for, right? His wealth and everything, stock portfolio, all this, right? But the whole mentality here is that we have the person, in a sense, for like I said, for Warren Buffett, we have entered his audience. This prospect, this individual, right? Let's take it away from the word lead and traffic and all this. This person found out who I was, and it didn't take opting in to make this a game changer. At least not at that moment, right? So, like I said, I just think it's a really, really powerful piece, and that's the power of once again just having multiple assets floating around, right? Because it started there, right? And like I said, I just think this gets overlooked, and even by, I would even say a lot of times, new members inside my brand of clients where they're trying to perfect this one single asset, right? It could be this like a free lead magnet, it could be a lower ticket offer to be the end all be all, but that's the magic is in understanding how to replicate the process over and over in order to grab the attention of different slices of your audience, right? I've always talked about becoming very prolific with asset creation. And I think that when I say that, it's because I know that there are certain things that I can create, right? Whether they're free or paid. And when I'm talking about this, I'm almost talking about the lower level stuff, right? I have my brand of clients, I have higher partnerships. These are limited. I don't need to be creating those. I can be optimizing. I don't need to be recreating. I don't want to have 50 different flagship programs, right? I want to have one. And so, but the things down below that are grabbing attention, the better we can get there, the more powerful it can be, right? It's like this is what gets someone in, but at the end of the day, I know their core pain is similar to so many folks that I'm talking to. Their core desire is similar to so many folks that I'm talking to. It's just about what's going to get them in the room. That's what we need to start to tackle. So once again, it started with them just viewing my landing page for my client magnet funnel. They didn't opt in, right? So now after that, I think I said the timestamps earlier. It was like 3 o'clock or so, right? So like I think we're talking like 4 hours later, something like that, right? That led to them jumping into my $12 offer, right? And so yes, it was cheap, but this is intentional, right? And really, I position it as a pre-frame to my flagship offer, right? I position it as a pre-frame to brand to clients, right? So really, it's like this speaks to a deeper level that many overlook, which truly is understanding how to pre-sell your audience. This is where I think just so many people are messing up, and that's why you're stuck to having to rely on sales tactics and getting better at sales tactics. And it's like that. The unfortunate part to sales tactics in a lot of cases is that there's just not as much leverage. It is more so a one-to-one game instead of a one-to-many game. And especially when you're trying to play the game like myself, I don't want to have a large team, right? It's really myself and my VA. I have two VAs. That's my essence of my core team. Like I don't want to have a large team. And so because of that, I move differently, right? I don't want to. It's like you could argue if I delegate and I have a bunch of salespeople, sure, then getting really prolific in sales tactics would be a great move. But it's like, what side do I want to play on? My lifestyle, I don't want to have a bunch of people that report to me, right? I've already got clients that report to me. Like I'd rather serve them and help them get bigger wins and let that do the marketing and the sales for me that much more. Referrals, these pieces, those create far easier sales than becoming very good at sales tactics to try to convert cold leads. Those cold leads are always going to convert far less than someone who has heard good things about you, your brand, your business, and want to come with you, right? Want to come work with you, want to buy from you, want to purchase from you in order to really let me get those results for myself. That's when things can start to really change for you, right? So for years, like I said, I really was doing this over sales calls, and it really just changed because that lacked the leverage, right? And so now eventually I kind of got to the point where, as you can see, I'm able to do it on a one-to-many level here like this, and you can see just how I'm reaping the benefits. All right. So from there, though, the follow-up wasn't nearly as aggressive as you may have imagined. All right. Because like I said, we're talking 4 hours later, they buy my $12 offer, right? This is my conversation closings code. Really is big on helping people with sales conversations, right? So really, honestly, it was not about being aggressive with the follow-up. In a sense, it was very much the opposite. And I think that this is something you really need to tap into. Really doesn't even matter where you're at, because the reality is, I just think that so many times people think it's about having a million touch points, about having all these things, when a system It's like I think we compare it to a car too much. Like a car has all these gears and gadgets and gizmos, and like you do need these things to have the car run. But at the end of the day, when it comes to these, it's like it's simplicity. You could argue. I think when I think about this, I think about some of the best pizza shops. Right? There's a pizza shop in New York. I forget the name of it, but like they literally have four different types of pizzas. That's it, right? And the pizzas are very straightforward. It's like cheese, pepperoni, maybe a sausage, and like one other. That's it, right? And they're able to focus on the ingredients, and the ingredients are spectacular, right? Their cheese is impeccable, their sauce is impeccable, right? It's like I don't even think they have. I feel like it's more like cheese, pepperoni, and like that's it. Like maybe there's one other thing, but that goes to show you how powerful. And imagine how much better they are at that than the majority. And so I want you to think about this too, because really what it came down towards was I just gave them, as far as follow up goes, my follow up was, right, they bought this and they actually ended up buying three different products in my funnel. So, right, so they bought a $12 product, they bought a $5 product, and they bought I want to say like a $47 product, right? And so they bought that. And what did I do? I just gave them, I gave them what they asked for, right? It was automated. I gave them, here's these three things, right? They got a couple of bundles, right? Like I said, they got my conversation closing code. And it I'm just instilling trust. I think there's such a big I'm just such a big believer in, if you want to do the right thing, it can be a lot simpler than you think. And the right thing in this case is you purchased, here's your purchase. There you go. Like a lot of times we overcomplicate things and how powerful they can be. But we overcomplicate because we're trying to get super fancy. But the reality is, where you get fancy, it can be in a different place where, to me, it's not even fancy anymore. It's just how we get things done. This is how the system operates, right? And even I would just say, as well, someone who tends to buy multiple products from me at once, this also is a good sign that they're a stronger lead. But it doesn't mean that they, just because they don't buy, order bumps and upsells, doesn't mean that they're negative either. I just had somebody now they're a one-on-one client with me where they literally just bought one. It was a different product for $19 I have. They just bought that, and now we're working together, and we're talking about partnering up and doing all these things as well too. So it's like, but the point here, I guess, is it's about getting leads in the door, buyer leads and or free leads, right? I do think buyer leads are better than free leads, but regardless, very powerful. You can tap in, right? And then arguably what's more important, I would say, is just making sure that the asset is genuinely valuable, right? Enough to where it leaves them wanting more, right? So now you can see at this point, right, we're talking, they've seen a landing page for my client magnet funnel, a free lead magnet. A few hours later, they now bought my conversation closing code with a couple of other pieces that comes with it, right? And now they're basically soaking up. I imagine, I'm not sitting there in the room with them, but let's just say, I will tell you this, over the next 9 hours, they are soaking up what they've been delivered, right? And now, so then to tip them over, they stumbled. This is the sweet spot here I want you to really understand. They stumbled upon my offer. What do I mean by that? AKA, I didn't reach out to them and pitch it to them, right? This makes it feel far more genuine and less salesy, right? Because before you know it, like basically in the middle of the night, like that's when the sale came through while I was, peacefully sleeping next to my beautiful wife. It's like that's in today's market. I just feel like this is the type of selling that's appreciated more and more these days by your prospects. So I urge you, right? I would absolutely urge you to start thinking about ways to implement this. This is the kind that happens when you stop hustling 24/7 and start installing systems that compound, right? Because how it happened basically was inside of one of the things that they bought, they stumbled upon it because I say, hey, here's a link that shows the specifics, specifics of how I actually help people do this behind the scenes. I had not mentioned it at all before that. I never shared anything about it. What was I doing though? I was giving them and getting them in front of assets, right? That actually pre-sold them on the end result. Pre-sold them on what is it that they need, right? I really have been saying this a lot recently, how I don't love this saying, give them what they, sell them what they want, give them what they need. I need to start coining this phrase here. It's more so educate them on what they need and then sell them on what they want. More specifically, educate them on what they need and now sell them on what they now want, right? You have now showed them that this is what it takes to get there through once again, low ticket, free education, whatever the case is. Now they really feel like they need it, right? Now they not only need it, they want it. And if you need and want something, it gets even stronger too. Because you don't always want things, but you know you need them, right? We can think about a plethora of different things like that too, right? Maybe I should be eating better, but I don't want to, right? But maybe I need to because I'm a diabetic, right? Whatever the case may be. I'm not a diabetic, but you get the drift. But this is the kind of thing. And then once again, literally as you see, before you know it, 9 hours later, without me saying anything, they end up jumping in and spending $3,000 with me, and it will only continue to grow from there. This is, like I said, what happens, right? It's less about the content, and it's more about clarity. It's less about guessing, and it's more about how can we get cash collected. That is the reality here, right? And that's what's going to allow you to go ahead and take someone from a complete stranger to $3,000 client in less than 16 hours, right? To somebody who has no idea of who you are to then purchasing from you. And I'll tell you right now, I've had this happen plenty of other times. Sometimes they've even included a sales call, right? And maybe not a sales call. I don't do as many sales calls these days. It's more so like I'll do kind of onboarding calls. So if you ever like buy a low ticket product of mine, I'm more than happy to chat with you that way as well too. And so like I've had people where they bought things and it has a call like that. But a lot of the times you can see here the call is not required. Some people aren't looking for a call, and I'm not pushing them to get on one. It's like this is here if you want it. And so that is why I'm telling you, like the system is real. It matters, right? That system is sitting in your blind spot until you install it. That's going to be the game changer for you. All right. So, like now, like even like before I wrap this up, I want you to think about this one question. Okay. What if you woke up tomorrow? What if you woke up tomorrow and a client bought your high ticket program without you ever having to talk to them? Because that's exactly what happened here. Like, and it's not magic, it's systems. Smart ones. All right. So if you're still out there, kind of duct taping these tactics together, hoping something clicks, like I said, just ask yourself here, what would it look like to have one system that makes someone from stranger to client without the chaos? As you can see here, without even talking, right? Without even talking to them. This is what I help coaches, experts, and creators do right inside of my brand of clients. All right. So I've got the details down below if you want to take a look. No option required, no pressure. Like I said, I'm only here if you want to help you grow your business and your brand. All right. So just to kind of help you out and stop guessing and start stacking high ticket clients like clockwork, tap it. You know where to find me.